Hello, I'm Zach, and today we're going to talk about exponents. First, let's talk about what is the product rule. The product rule is where you multiply the powers with the same base, you add the exponents. Here's our first example. X to the third power times x to the second power equals x times x times x times x times x. And if you add all those x's up, that means you'll get x to the fifth power. Let's do this example. Pause the video and do this. X to the second power times x to the fifth power. You should have gotten x to the seventh power, because if you add those two exponents up, you'll get 7, and that's over x with the same base, so you get x to the seventh power. Next, let's do the quotient rule. The quotient rule is when dividing powers with the same base, you subtract the exponents in the denominator from the exponents in the numerator. Here are some examples. X to the third power over x to the second power equals this in expanded form. X times x over x times x. And you get this right here because these two x's cancel each other out because they're the same base, and those would equal 1. So you have one x left, so that means you have x over 1. And to simplify that down, you get x over x to the first power. Do this example. X to the fourth power over x to the second power. Alright, you should have got x to the second power, because 4 minus 2 equals 2, so it's x to the second power. The quotient rule for negative, or minus. It's the same as the positive, it's just that you have a bigger number on bottom than you do on the top. So here's our first example. X to the second power over x to the fourth power. Do the same thing, but look, you have two x's on the bottom. So that means you'll have two x's when you do your fraction. So that means you'll have x to the negative second power. Here's another example. X to the third power over x to the fifth power. That should equal x to the negative second power, because 3 minus 5 equals negative 2. Now we'll talk about how to get negative exponents. A negative exponent is when you have an exponent that is negative and you turn it into a fraction. So first we have x to the negative fourth power, and if you turn that into a fraction, it would equal 1 over x to the fourth power. Here's another example. X to the negative third power equals 1 over x to the third power. Next, we have the zero exponent rule. This is any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Look, x to the second power over x to the second power equals 1, because any number over itself equals 1. Here's another example. X to the third power over x to the third power, that should equal 1, because again, they all equal 1 if it's the same base. And finally, we have the power rule. And then the power rule is if you take a power and raise it by an exponent, you will multiply those two exponents like so. Alright, our first example is x to the second power and then that to the third power. So what you do for this is you multiply the two powers. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and then you'll put that back to your variable x. So you'll get x to the sixth power. Next, we have x to the third power and then to the third power again. What this means, you'll multiply the two 3's and then put it back with your exponent. So you get x to the ninth power. Here's one that I want you to do on your own. Pause the video and do this. Alright, you should have got x to the 12th power, because if you multiply 4 by 3, you get 12, so that equals x to the 12th power. Thank you, and that's it for all about exponents.